Okay, like, I'm here. I'm just gonna do this, like, I'm here and I'm doing this little recording test of performance. So, up on the top left side of the screen there, I have Intel PresentMon set up to record, like, the processes on the PC running Metaphor ReFantazio. Um, so here in the city, running on an RTX 4060 and a Ryzen 7 3700X with 8 gigs of VRAM, set to, mind you, you're in the in-game settings, 200% scaling, so that's 4K, with high texture quality, ambient occlusion on and stuff. The native monitor for what I'm using is 1080p. I'm running borderless as well with VSync on. I could turn VSync off, of course, and I get like higher frames, but I don't think that really matters right now. So it's displaying at 4K, but it's scaling down to 1080p here. And mind you, it's extremely necessary you do that because if you try to run native 1080p on like even a 4060 here, in the background you're gonna see just ridiculously bad anti-aliasing. It's atrocious. It's like you're looking at a game running on the PSP or the Vita here, or even an early Xbox 360 or PS3 game. It looks like it's running like crap in the background and it's just choppy. So this game forces you to use 4K to get the best image quality here. And even then, there's still really bad anti-aliasing going on. But with that in mind, it's a situation here where the frame rates that you're gonna get, mind you, when you adjust the frame rate, not the frame rates, the resolution scaling like I did, you will actually notice that it will drop your average presented FPS here. It was sitting at like 55 previously, but when you do the adjustment, you'll have to close the game out and relaunch it. So when you do it within game and you adjust that resolution scaling, it actually is going to drop your average performance. So what was running at 55 average FPS here, now isn't anymore. It's like hovering around like 50 FPS. Obviously, if you do drop your resolution scaling, your frame rates will go up. So I will state that if you do run at native 1080p, it's going to run on this CPU with GPU combo at a frame rate of like going anywhere between 70 and 80 FPS on average. Now with the 4K scaling, you do get 100% GPU utilization, and you'll get about 40% of your CPU utilization, and you'll only clock in roughly about like, you know, about 3.5 gigabytes of VRAM. So this game doesn't really push like VRAM crazy. You can run this at 4K on a 4 gigabyte graphics card, even like a GTX 1650 Super. From like at least the Nvidia, you know, lineup of graphics card. A 4 gig card can run this game. Obviously my 8 gigs is a little overkill here. And so yeah, when you look in this direction, you are going to get higher FPS and stuff, and as you look over here, the FPS is going to drop more. It depends on what's being rendered on screen. Apparently in the cities and everywhere in this game, Atlas has everything rendered in at all times. Instead of like, if I'm looking this way, what would be behind my character would like de-render to save on performance. Atlas didn't program the game to support that, so that's why you get like worse performance when you look over here, because there's less going on this side, more going on that side. And so everything is rendered in at all times. So I have it set up where, you know, you can see the GPU temp. It's like around 66 degrees with my PC. and here we have like your average FPS dropping between like 55 and like 80, whatever. It's all over the place. It's kind of crazy. It's a little wild. But the best way to enjoy this is going to be scaled at 4K with resolution scaling there. I highly suggest you do that. And then at that point, if you're scaling the resolution real high, the performance you're going to get in game is then going to hinge upon what kind of CPU you got and how many frames it can deliver. With this Ryzen 7 3700X, you're getting similar frame performance to what's in an Xbox Series X, specifically, because it's a Ryzen 7 3700 with the Series S, and it's like a Ryzen 5, I think 3600 with the PS5. So you're getting Series X level frame performance, and that's basically about it. But besides just that, I did make some adjustments here in the NVIDIA control panel. Now these performance enhancement like options may or may not even affect the game, but I applied them anyways. So when you're looking for the game you want specifically, you'll want to do like add within control panel. Mind you, this is under 3D settings, and then manage 3D settings. You'll hit add, and then you want to find within here. Currently, the version of Metaphor that I'm running is the Xbox app version, not the Steam version. It's the version you get if you buy the console version for Series X and S. You'll get that version on PC. And then if you do this by A to Z and then scroll and you find your copy of Metaphor, the Xbox app version here, of course, you would see it in this list if, well, yeah, you'll see it right here. You'll click that and add, and then it'll show this Sega of America Inc. PAE 22B. So you'll see all this, and then parentheses Metaphor. Currently, I actually have image scaling on for this at 100%. And I do have anisotropic filtering at 2 times. You do need anti-aliasing FXAA. I don't know if this is even, now mind you, none of these may even work or even affect the application, in this case Metaphor. But if it does have an effect, I put on 2 times anisotropic filtering here. I did turn on FXAA anti-aliasing. You do need anti-aliasing because this game is sharp and jagged around the edges. And everything basically with anti-aliasing I turned on. Gamma correction, anti-aliasing mode. I did put override any application settings because Metaphor does not feature any setting within game for anti-aliasing at all. And so it's a situation where I'm doing this and I'm setting all this manually and I'm overriding because in the event that it does work, you need to force anti-aliasing on the game. And my current anti-aliasing here is 2 times. The higher you go, the more performance you'll lose. The minimum you can go is 2 times. Multi-sample for anti-aliasing transparency, because with multi-sample you'll get better performance, but with super sample you'll get better quality. For CUDA, I do have prefer sysmem fallback for VRAM overflow. In the event for any reason it goes beyond the 8 gigabytes on the 4060, it'll tap into system memory. I don't even believe any application will ever really do that, like for the most part. If you are very like what's the word I want to use, modest with like how high you crank your settings up. If you just are like not going crazy balls to the walls cranking everything up on an 8 gig card, you probably shouldn't need this. Low latency mode, I did turn this on so that way ultra, so that you can get the lowest amount of latency possible if you have G-Sync and V-Sync compatible monitor, which I do with the monitor that I have. My monitor goes up to 165 FPS, so I did cap it there. Monitor technology is G-Sync compatible. I do have a G-Sync compatible monitor, of course. Multi-frame sampled anti-aliasing. This is also anti-aliasing, but just in case, I did turn this on. In fact, I do believe this setting works specifically with the game, and I think I have noticed that this one actually affects the anti-aliasing entirely. And if you don't have this one on, I believe from what I've seen with my eyes, this actually does work. Or maybe I'm just delusional, and I don't know, and I just really believe that there's a difference. But either way, I do suggest turning this one on, because I believe it works from what I'm able to see. Preferred refresh rate, highest available. Texture filtering, I do have on. LOD bias, I do allow. Quality for high performance, because I actually kind of want to try and see if I can balance it out where I get good image quality but also good performance. So I'm using this texture filtering to maybe filter the textures out slightly lower, so that way I get better performance. So I can kind of tune the graphics, the level of texture detailing by in like control panel settings here to modify my actual like frame rate and performance. I don't think this is really helping or doing anything. Try linear optimization. Yeah, if you do have on, the idea is that you'll have higher performance with a minimal loss in image quality as well. Triple buffering. I guess if you turn this on while you have VSync enabled, it also improves performance. But I think with buffering, it adds latency there. So vertical sync, obviously I have it set to 3D application setting. In game, it does feature VSync as an option, but I do have that enabled specifically. And everything else you see it as grayed out or that isn't emboldened, I just left pretty much as it is, aside from this one. This one was modified, but everything else is just your generic settings. And then when you're done, you'll see like a thing and an option down there for apply. So that's basically all I've done so far with this game. And I mean, for 4K, it's basically mustering up almost 60 FPS on a general like
whatever will I do?
A general like set of the time,
Idiot.
But I have noticed that the performance is a lot closer in line with what you would get on a Series X. That kind of makes sense considering the 4060s and basically a 2070 Super.
Look at that. The new model's out
Which
now.
is effectively what's equivalent to what's in the Series X. So you're gonna get the same kind of performance on a PC like what you would really with the Series X here. You're gonna get 4K, targeting 60, generally around 50 FPS average when you're in town. I think the frame rate will dip even lower as far as I think. I haven't played the demo, I just have the full game here that I'm testing, of course. I believe you'll dip even lower when you're in the field maybe, but who can really say?